Welcome back to Road to Fire. We're a family of three documenting our journey to fire, financial independence, retire early. Let's chat about the 5 common myths about fire or the fire movement. I will share the common assumptions I see or get all the time whenever I tell somebody I'm pursuing fire, so share your thoughts below if you get these comments as well. First, let's stop categorizing everyone in the fire community. There are many types and ways of getting to fire. I know this sounds silly to have to say, but this happens all too often. Once you share with someone that you're pursuing fire, they automatically assume you're following everything Mr. Money Mustache has done down to the T. Now, his story and journey is amazing, and if that's you, kudos to you. But everyone knows personal finance is personal, and that goes to those in the fire movement as well. Now let's jump right into it. The first myth is beyond annoying, that fire equals not working again. The second you tell someone you're pursuing fire, their first thought is you don't want to work another day in your life. So you hit your FI number and immediately quit your job and stop working forever. Insert dramatic sound effects. I still don't get how being financially independent means stop working altogether, but for most pursuing fire, this isn't true. This is a common assumption that I get all the time when talking to people outside of the movement. Now, after reading countless articles, listening to hundreds of podcasts, and reading many books on the fire movement, most people continue to work in some form or fashion. Now, if you plan to not work ever again when you hit your fire number, that's amazing. But more than often, this is not the norm. Let me explain. So, FIRE means financial independence, retire early. When you break it down, it's the retire early part that people get hung up on. Now, the word retire defined in a traditional sense is to withdraw from one's position or occupation, concludes one's working or professional career. I get it. By definition, this means you will stop working or withdraw from working. But when you retire early or hit FI, and what I like to say when people ask me what does early retirement really look like, it's more like this. Recreational employment. It's the option to choose what type of work, where to work, when or if and why to work. Most people who plan to reach fire shift into this recreational employment stage. They find or focus on passion projects, step down into consulting roles, start businesses, and some may keep their current job just knowing they have the option. Think of it as a mental shift or a career change versus retirement in a traditional sense. Personally, my goal is to shift into the nonprofit segment. I know this segment won't pay me as much as my current salary, but after I reach FI, it won't be about the money. For my husband, he won't ever stop working in the traditional sense, but at least he'll have the option. So, number two myth, you hate your job. You only want to retire early because you hate your current role. Now, there is an assumption that everyone who's pursuing fire is running from their career. Here's an easy way to look at it. Personally, I am not running away from my current job, but I'm running towards options or financial independence or freedom. I'm not leaving my career behind, but chasing a better life. I, for one, personally absolutely love my job. I get to eat and design new food innovation in the hottest segment after toilet paper, ice cream. Each day I get to work with food scientists and chefs creating new ice cream flavors or ideas. Just this week alone, I got 4 boxes of new ideas to eat delivered to my house. But if today we hit our fire number, my husband and I would probably not quit our jobs. We would probably stay a bit longer. It's because we are both in careers that we really enjoy. But now we would have the option. So not everyone in the fire community or in the movement hates their job, and neither are we running away from the corporate grind. Yeah, we are just seeking more autonomy and ownership of our time, and there's a huge difference. Now, fire is about choices and options. You'll probably hear me say that a lot throughout this video, but it's true. It's about owning your own daily schedule. Think of it. When was the last time you owned your own weekday schedule every minute of the day? And then how nice would it be to set your own schedule all the time? Design your own life. It's really sad that we live in a world where we essentially have to buy back our own time. But that's what fire is, buying back your own time. Now, number three, you are depriving yourself. I get this one a lot. If you're pursuing fire, then you are definitely depriving yourself right now and not enjoying your life presently. Two things come to mind. First, it's easy to confuse prioritization with deprivation. What most in the fire community are doing is prioritizing savings, investing, and building wealth now versus later. Secondly, we live in an instant gratification world where the average adult attention span is probably 4 seconds. So the minute anyone talks about long-term investing or investing for a better life in the future, it doesn't resonate with most. I get it, but planning for the future doesn't mean depriving yourself in the present. You always have to have a good balance. What it means is prioritizing your future self now. Number four, You can't reach fire with the family. Those pursuing fire with the family will have a different path. Our timelines might be different, our saving rates might not be as high all the time. We might have to make adjustments or changes to our plan along the way, but let's face it, kids are unpredictable, so it makes sense. But pursuing fire with the family, particularly with kids, it's possible. Christy Shen, author of Quit Like a Millionaire, explained it perfectly. If you haven't read her book, please get a copy ASAP. She interviewed a few fire families and how they were able to hit their FI number even with children. Now, it all comes down to managing your money, living below your means, and focusing more on experiences versus materialistic things. Find what works best for you and your family, then stick to a plan for the long run. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But personally, I have gotten flack for house hacking with my son, or moving him around a lot to find lower rent, or even buying him secondhand clothes. Can you imagine? At first, it really had me rethinking everything, but then I remembered why I'm pursuing fire. It's all to spend more time with my son. It's important to remember your why. Let's face it, my husband and I are the ones pursuing fire, not my son. So we adjust and cut our own personal expenses to still provide our son with the best opportunities and experiences for his life. He takes swim lessons, he goes to a private daycare, he has soccer, cooking, and music lessons from time to time, and he's only 3. But we want to fill his days with lasting memories. These are the type of expenses we prioritize. But finding the right balance for your family is key. Now, number 5, the 4% rule doesn't work anymore, and this is probably the biggest myth. Let's talk about the Trinity study. It's an excellent research paper done by 3 professors from the Trinity University in, I believe, 1998. The research paper's goal was to identify a safe withdrawal rate that people should use to sustain a particular lifestyle for up to 30 years or during traditional retirement. It is important to note that the original research was not about early retirement, but traditional retirement. They tested the success rate of withdrawal rates from 3 to 12%, with portfolios containing between 0 and 100% of stocks, by jumps of about 25%. The study and the result is basically the foundation for the FIRE movement. But a lot has changed since the first original publishing of the Trinity study in about the mid-1990s. We've had, 2 or 3, arguably 4 major recessions, so it's only fair to assume maybe the 4% rule doesn't work. But get this, a new study came out updating the Trinity study with current data through 2020, and the original conclusions still stand. A 4% withdrawal rate is still safe. Now, my husband and I have opted for a more conservative, safe withdrawal rate, but either way, it still works out. Was 2020 scary? Absolutely. But when you're investing for the long run, last year becomes nothing more than another data point in the study. Now, for most people who feel that the 4% rule is over or that the FIRE movement is dead, tend to forget that the FIRE movement is for long-term investors. It's not about buying or selling stocks for short-term capital gains. It's about creating sustainable wealth to cover your lifestyle over a long period of time adjusted for inflation. Remember, don't think short-term with FIRE. It's a long-term play. But define what FIRE means to you. Choose and create the path that works best for you. Don't let anyone define what your FIRE path looks like. What has grounded me is knowing and focusing on my why. I do get sidetracked and sometimes I second guess our decisions. I'm human. But once I realign and focus on my why, things become clear again. I have found that whenever you choose a path less taken, then you will definitely find more resistance, curiosity, and opposition. It's expected. Stay grounded in your why is key. Now, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. But don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe below. Until next time.